Hello, my love. You are listening to the Walk With Me podcast, and this is your host, Janine. Holy moly, have I been avoiding filming this episode, recording this episode for you, mostly because we have to record at least 1 week in advance. So you're going to get this exactly 1 week from the day I'm recording it. And it just feels like I don't know where we're going to be in a week. So usually it's not a big deal to record an episode, and it feels really fresh when it goes out, even if we're doing it a little bit in advance, my team and I, so that we can get it all together and not be rushed or flying by the seat of our pants. But trying to figure out where the world and where we are going to be and what we're feeling in a week is so different right now. And that's because I think what we're being asked to practice is emergence. You know, that process of really coming into view and relationship with moment by moment things being exposed, things that have been concealed before really coming into being in the important relationship of what's prominent, what's here right now, what have we outgrown and what are we coming into. And this has been a practice that I've been experiencing a lot of synchronicity with, and it's what I wanted to talk about today. And that's when I realized I can just hit record and go. And, first I want to check in with you, how are you really? How are you really? And just want to invite you to feel that. And, I'll name that for you too. I'm sitting in my bedroom and I'm not walking today like we usually are because it's snowing outside, a mix of snow and rain. And I just nursed my baby Autumn. She's almost 6 months old now, if you can believe it. Just nursed her to sleep and then came in here to start recording, and she woke up. So I had to go interrupt my husband downstairs, who is on a work call, and ask him if he could watch her because she woke up when she was supposed to be napping, so I could do this. And it's my designated work time today. My husband and I are trying to support each other and getting the most important things done and, spending time with each other and taking this one step at a time in between and really only taking care of what we really feel we have to. The rest trying to support each other and our household and move through this with grace. This being the coronavirus COVID-19 world epidemic, in case you're listening to this in the future and you're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, we're in the middle of that right now. I don't even know if it's the middle. That's the hard part. In coaching, one of the things we learn and that I teach my students that's most important for a coaching session to go anywhere is like, when you walk in the mall, the first thing you need to know is, why are you there? Do you have a purpose? Are you wandering around or are you going somewhere? And then the second thing you do, if you do have a destination or a store you'd like to get to, is you go find the map, and the first thing you look at is, you are here, and that's what helps you get to the next place. Well, we aren't even certain from an outside perspective. No one can tell us where we are in the process. So we have to trust our intuition, which is what we talked about last week. But we'll get into that in a second. I want to talk to you about intuition and emergence and innovation, because I think those are the keys that are going to help us through. But right now, furthermore, the baby's now with Brent downstairs. My 4.5-year-old daughter, Violet, is watching TV, and she's watched a lot more TV than she ever has in the past, and that's okay. That's how we're surviving. And, I was thinking about how am I really, and I've been spending a lot of time with women virtually, just women, sisterhood, friends in my life that I count on for my own joy and sanity, and then family members and my clients from around the world. I have a couple one-on-one clients right now. I have women in my signature program, Mentor Masterclass, who are training to become life coaches. And then I have a list on all of you, and I've been connecting with you guys. And what I'm feeling is right now we're on a roller coaster. We are experiencing the full range of our emotions and coming into contact with them. And I have kind of been joking about that and I'll kind of reveal to you, and I'd love to hear from you. I might make a post about this on my Instagram at janine.yoder. I'd love to hear from you if any of these resonate, and I'd love to hear if you too are having these like polar extreme thoughts and feelings right now, because for me it's like, it started off like, oh, there's this crazy virus in China, and crap, okay, we're not going to be able to travel anymore. We should really stop traveling. I led a retreat in California in February. We got home like right when it was all kind of happening, and it was like, okay, we're not going to travel anymore for the foreseeable future. And then it was like this question, like, do you think that could happen here? And then it was like, shit, it's here. And it's this roller coaster is kind of like, now that we've been in quarantine, like that, it didn't sound so bad to be in quarantine. And then it's like, the hoarding started happening, and the toilet paper started flying off the shelves, and the shelves were empty. And it was like, holy shit, like, how are we going to be able to eat? Are we going to be able to wipe our ass? Like, and then it was this, like, it's nice to slow down, when the whole world is slowing down, it's really permission for us to slow down, and this feels good, and we're knocking things off our to-do list. And then it's like, oh my God, the whole world is in this same situation. We've never been in anything like that. Isn't that crazy that all of us across the world are experiencing this at the same time? And then it's like, what if this is, my mind goes to, what if this is how the world ends? Is this the world ending? And then it floats back up to how beautiful all of this is, and that Mother Earth is healing right now with all of us, being home, and less pollution and less tax and travel, and all these changes we've needed to make we're being forced into them. It's like this idea that maybe this breakdown is so we can have a true breakthrough. And I really feel that intuitively. And then I think about how selfish and stupid we've been, and that it takes something like this to knock us on our ass in human nature, to take better care of ourselves and each other, and have a pace that makes sense, and to be able to work from home. And then I just start thinking about all the ways we got out of control, and all the useless buildings there are if we do transition to working from home, and how many mistakes we've made, and how negligent we've been, and how much more careful this is making us. And then I have a day where I'm like, okay, we're settling into this homeschooling thing. This is really good. We're part of our child's education. And then it's like moments like today where I'm like, how much longer can we do this? I'm getting nothing done. Nothing that's important is getting done. How much longer is this going to last? And then I think, okay, this is a gift. We're not supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be being instead of doing. And then I float back to, I can't be my way to the bank account to pay the mortgage. I can't be my way through taking care of all my clients and what they're needing right now, and all the information that they're seeking, and in how to sustain their coaching businesses, how to grow them during this time, how to take advantage of a time when this is really when coaches are needed and called, and how to sell during a crisis. And then it's this question of, should people be selling? And then it comes home to absolutely yes, we need to be walking our talk and paying it forward, and we need to keep cash flow going and support our economy and step forward with our gifts that are needed, and focus on what's needed and give it, and pay each other and be positive. And then I think about, okay, you know what? The government's going to find a solution. They're going to figure this out. And then the next swing of the roller coaster is, holy fuck, there's no way our government is ever going to figure this out. They haven't figured anything out. They're not doing a good job figuring this out. Then it's like, this is all meant to be. And it's a breakdown so we can break through. And then it's this unraveling into conspiracy theories that I see floating around about Q and quantum and the deep state and going down, and child human trafficking, and how it's all connected to coronavirus. And then I think these conspiracies are just people that are going stir crazy. And then this one's really funny. My husband said this one. I had to joke about this. It was like, shit, if you translate Kobe Bryant into Hebrew, Kobe means COVID. This is literally one of the conspiracies. Then it's like, oh, I love all this meditation. I'm calming my mind. I'm slowing down. Scroll, anxiety rising, scroll. Then this all started because of 5G. Then it's like, I am light, I am light. So I made a list of just this roller coaster on and on, like getting into routine, and maybe we'll have a scavenger on today. Where's the remote control? Can we please turn the TV on now and get these kids out of our hair? It's 1 second we're cooking healthy and I'm excited about it. The next second I am so tired of eating at home. I thought yesterday we're like, let's go on a nice long drive for a change of scenery. And then the baby started screaming in our car seat and we were like, let's go home. There's just so much this roller coaster, and why I'm joking about it and really going into these thoughts and saying them is that we're all on this ride of like, this is really hard and this is a true gift. And it seems to be that's the ride that we're on. Like, we're really experiencing our full range during this quarantine because we're invited to be with ourselves in a way that we are not invited to in our normal culture and society. And even when we know that's what we need and our intuition says that's what we need, when our culture is operating at a different pace, when we feel like we're missing out on something, we don't let ourselves sit here. And sitting here means looking at, where are we? And because there's no map right now, there's no certainty, we have to tune into our intuition to answer that question. We have to be still and really use all of our awareness to answer that question. Where are we right now? Where have we been? We've been in a selfish world, in a masculine world, in a patriarchal world. We've been hurting our earth. We've been disconnected from our families and each other. We've been trusting authority over our own intuition. We've been burning out and growth obsessed. And this is a moment of stillness. It's a moment where we can come into self-responsibility and receptivity and resourcefulness and leaning into community, into new ways, and recognizing all the ways we weren't taking advantage of what we had before. We weren't honoring what we had before. And so many things when I connect the dots looking back have led me to being prepared for this moment. All of the experience I had, from my mom dying to getting pregnant a week later with Autumn. And, I've been thinking about all the pregnant women out there and just really feeling for you during this time, because pregnancy is, for me, such a time of health and worry and concern about how it's all going to go. And then adding this to it, I feel deeply grateful that I was able to have Autumn before all of this. And I've just been thinking of you who are pregnant and here for you if you need support. And, her birth was such a surrendered lesson in time and in cutting back and slowing down and being, that's prepared me. If anything, I've been living that meme that went around that's like, when you realize your real life is quarantine. That's how I was living before this, and really preparing myself for this. And I've been, in the first episode, all the activism work that I was doing, fighting these laws, and all the chatting we've been doing about authority and then intuition, all of this has been what I've been working on and cultivating. And I didn't know what form it was going to take, but I've been working on how I can be of service from the place I'm at now, what I most understand and know after working with women who have stepped outside of the box and who are doing a career that in this moment is able to survive and thrive a pandemic. All of my students are still able to work. Their lives as far as career have not changed. They're able to make money. If anything, coaches and wellness professionals are needed more during uncertain times. And this is a time where the industry is rapidly needed and will grow. And so I'm showing up, I'm showing up for all of this in my full range in my house. But in my work, I'm really recognizing that this is the time to show up. This is the time. Everything I've been preparing for and creating is here. And, we started talking about intuition last week. And intuition is that ability to understand something immediately, without the need for conscious reasoning. It's that bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. Intuition helps you see that issues are never really black or white, right or wrong. Intuition helps you find that deeper wisdom in between that becomes that bridge. And I believe intuition is everything that we need right now. And it's a practice. And there's a lot of tools and techniques and practices that I want to teach and have been putting together and understand why now, looking back, because we need to cultivate a stronger relationship with our intuition. And in last week's episode, we did that a little bit, and there's so much further we need to go. This really is the way moving forward. It's not following that marketing map. It's not looking to other authorities to tell you how to have that business, how to handle surviving and thriving after wherever we land at the end of this. It's really about being able to trust yourself and feel a sense of guidance from within. And there are ways that we can do that I want to share with you and encourage you to be in practice with and get those resources into your hands. And, I told you we would talk about emergence this week because there's 3 pillars that I'm going to start teaching about, and I have a wait list for you if you're interested. One of the most important things that we can do in the wellness industry is make our work accessible. And most of my programs are really high-priced programs. They're all $10,000 or more. And I have no lower price programs for people to join. I'm hearing from a lot of you that you want to work together during this time, that you're feeling the calling to, 1, starting your coaching business if you haven't already, and getting the training to feel confident to do that from a coaching and business perspective. And 2, that you are feeling the call to create a sustainable practice and to know what that would look like with all the changes in the market to really get your business to be able to grow through this as it should. It's an incredible opportunity. With the economy taking this turn and people being in a space of fear and almost restarting. The definition of emergence is that process of coming into view and becoming exposed to after being concealed. So it's perfect for this. And it's coming into being. It's looking at what's important and prominent. It's what have we outgrown and what's here now. And it's the second pillar of what I want to be teaching in a membership program that I'm going to be launching this year that will be accessible to everybody. So if you want to get on the wait list to find out when that's going to open, if you want to hear more about it, if what I'm talking about with these 3 pillars that I'm introducing in the podcast, starting with intuition last week, showing you a little bit of what emergence looks like right now by just being present with what is, naming it and responding to it. And then the 3rd pillar, which we'll get to, is innovation. I'm going to be working with those deeply in this collective that I'll be calling together, a membership that will be accessible to everyone during this time. And if you're interested, you can get on the wait list. The link is on the blog with this episode or in the description of this episode. And I'm mentioning that because now is also a time to be leaning into community. It's not a time to self-isolate. It's not a time to hoard your resources, your money, your toilet paper, any of that. It's a time for us to recognize we need to keep the economy going and we need to grow from this. We need to change and be an emergent practice with what have we outgrown as a result of these lessons, what is here now, where do we move with that. And I believe community and collecting resources and sharing them together is going to be a huge part of the way forward. Being in practice of our intuition, being in practice with emergence, and then once we feel really grounded in those 2 things, it's time for innovation. And innovation is all about new ideas and creative thoughts and imaginations and the embodiment and integration of divine solutions. What are the new requirements in the new world that we're going to emerge into? What are the unarticulated needs or the existing collective needs now and needed for the future? And we got to pay attention to these things inside of you, what's happening with your intuition, where we're at with emergence, and then how to innovate. And I want to be holding that conversation and holding that space. And today, sharing about the full range and being honest with where we are and asking you, how are you really? That's all you really need to be doing in this moment, is tapping into that immediate source of reasoning and understanding within you and listening to that more than you listen to anything on the outside. You could see when I described, and I know you can relate to that roller coaster, those things on the where I think of like getting up to the peak where you're about to do that uncomfortable drop. Those peak moments come from sourcing information outside. All of those crazy thoughts that I have when I feel dark and down and, fear, it's all when I'm looking outside of myself. When I look in, when I come into my heart, when I listen to my intuition, which is felt like a knowing sense. And I gave you some exercises in last week's podcast. I'm curious to hear how they've gone. When we're doing those exercises, when we're cultivating that relationship, for me, that's like the smooth sailing of that roller coaster that we're on right now. That's where I feel like, oh, this all makes sense. It's that bridge between, is it easy? No, it's really freaking hard. Is it confronting and intimidating and an initiation? Absolutely. Is it beautiful and sacred and something we'll remember forever and that will change us in the most profound ways? Absolutely. There you go. It's that your intuition, I think, lands us on that in-between truth, which is stable, more stable than anything pretending to be on the black or white solid side. It's actually all a little bit more in flow. And that's why feminine leadership has been so powerful in preparing me for this moment. And my work really feels the most relevant that it's ever been, because as women, we know how to operate in this full range, to feel into all the layers, and we work better when we're allowed to flow with that, when we're allowed to ride that roller coaster and honor it, and then take into practice, what have I outgrown? What is here now? And that's the emergent practice I want to focus on with you today, is just in your day, look around at the routines, the thought patterns, the habits, the old ways of being that, as this initiation has come forward for us, as we are in this quarantine, in this world pandemic, what have you outgrown? And what are the bigger patterns that you have seen that we as a collective have outgrown? And what is here now? And one of the reasons why I want to start an actual collective group, a membership space for us to gather and practice and innovate together and look at these things together. What have we outgrown? What is here now? And how do we respond, using all of our intuition together in one space to name and discern, to see the themes that are coming up in our collective, to see the themes of what we've outgrown and what's here now, and how we're going to respond to those collective needs now and for the future. That's when power comes into play. And that's what emergence looks like. What are you seeing come into view? What's becoming exposed? What, after being concealed for so long, what are you seeing now? I think that we're confronted in this quarantine with our relationships, with our parenting, with our daily routine and patterns, with our addictions, with our places of focus, and really starting to see what matters, what's needed, what's old, what's important, what's prominent. And if you're like me, you're undulating into wanting to keep doing things in a certain way that just don't fit anymore. And that's part of the practice that I also want to share with you inside the collective when we open the doors to it. And again, you can get on the wait list to find out. As soon as we open the doors, I'm going to be sending an email out to my entire list where we can start to gather more consistently and get deeper into practices that I can't share on the podcast. And to talk with you in the collective about how we move from old ways of being to discerning what the new ways are and go through that transition. And I think we're doing that right now, but it's really hard to do that unconsciously. And there are some beautiful practice and ways, especially using, one of my favorite ways is to use archetypes, is to start to look at those old ways and give them a name and a character, and look at the new ways that are needed and discern what that new way looks like. Helps us to develop some practices to use our intuition and emergence and innovation to break those patterns sooner rather than later. It doesn't have to take years to break a pattern. We can move through this really quickly and really beautifully. And so I just want to invite you today to think about some of these strategies of emergence, just starting with looking at how are you really listening to your intuition to reveal to you some immediate understanding about what you're grounded in right now, and looking at not that black or white wisdom that takes you to the top of that roller coaster, but that beautiful intuitive guidance that helps you see the space in between and feel the solidarity of that, and allowing that to bring you to a place of present emergence and looking at what's coming into view, what's being exposed, what's important, what's prominent, what's here now. And then the next step is innovation, and we'll talk more about that next week. Maybe, if the topic doesn't change. We'll see. That's what's beautiful about being in emergence. I'm not sure what will be needed for next episode, but that's what I'm here and listening to. That's the practice I've been cultivating that feels like everything in my life has been leading me up to this moment. And I know if you're called to be a leader, a healer, a coach, and help people through this time, you've probably intuitively been feeling this in your own way too. And I want you to know that I'm here for you during these times. I'm here to walk my talk and take care of myself so I can be of service. And I'm really excited about this collective opportunity. So again, if you're interested, get on the wait list. And if you are knowing that this is the time to get really serious about your business as a healer, a coach, a thought leader, we are doing everything, my team and I, to support you in making my signature program possible for you. We're giving away full ride scholarships, partial scholarships, major discounts during this time. You can go over to mentormasterclass.com and take the free self-discovery week, which allows you to get started on your coaching business right now. I teach some high-level coaching tools and techniques. I walk you through a 7-day practice of integrating self-care as a start, practicing these coaching tools, doing some prospecting, learning about marketing, all in 1 week. So if you're ready to be of service right now, go take the self-discovery week. It'll walk you through some simple guidelines, daily action steps through a video training that will help you step into the role of the coach now and support people during this crazy time. And at the end of that week, if you like the way it feels to learn with me, if you like the way that these pillars that I use in Mentor Masterclass of walking your talk, self-care as a priority to starting your business, then stepping into the role of the coach, sharing and being of service, using your power to verify that you have what it takes to get out there and make money doing work that you love in alignment with your calling. At the end of the week, you'll have an opportunity to apply. If you've already taken the self-discovery week, you can just apply right now, even if you've applied to Mentor Masterclass before. And you can apply for these scholarships, this discount. If your application is approved, we're going to let you know what kind of scholarships we have available that fit your unique needs. You'll be able to hop on a call with me and talk more about the program and what it would mean to start your business during this beautiful, opportunistic time. And so, you really have two options right now. If you're ready, or if you want to ramp up to get ready, take the self-discovery week or apply, and I will support you in making sure that you can get in that course now and launch your coaching business now, or take your coaching business to the next level. If you're already a coach, you already have training as a coach, you've already done all that you need to start working on your business and get it off the ground, or you've had a successful business but you don't know what it's going to look like moving forward, I want to invite you into our Sisterhood Collective. where we're going to work on these pillars of intuition, emergence, and innovation deeper. It's a month-by-month program. It's going to start at just $44 a month, so it's accessible to everyone. You can get on the wait list for that. All the links that you need to dig deeper and work deeper with me this week through this time are in the episode on the blog, JanineYoder.com, or in the episode description. You'll find the links to Self-Discovery Week and the waitlist. And there's so many other resources and things to support you on the blog now. And also, if you get on the waitlist for the membership program, I'm going to be doing some free Sister Circle healing galleries, healing circle gatherings over the next few weeks for free. So I'll be announcing those to everyone that's on the wait list so that you can feel the ways in which we're going to be practicing and working with intuition and emergence and innovation. One of the most important things is that I gather powerful women together, and my gift is connecting you with women who you've traveled many lifetimes before with, who've been waiting to connect with you and support you. And I love curating those containers and creating powerful spaces. And that's one of the biggest assets of this collective that's coming together. So this is where we're at in emergence, being with what is. I hope that that's able to support you today where you are, that you're able to say, how am I really? And start to look to your intuition first before anything else. And then be an emergent practice with what is outgrown and what is here now. And then that will naturally in itself start guiding you to a place of innovation, which we'll be talking more about in the collective and here on the podcast a bit in the future. I am thinking of you. I am sending you so much love. I hope that you're like those people I see when we do get out in nature. So many more people are taking advantage of nature walks, and it's a sweet way, social distancing. We can walk next to each other 10 feet away in wilderness, and I'm seeing so many people when we're out and about. So while I wasn't able to walk today, I will be walking as soon as the sun comes out, and we're doing it as much as we can each day. And I'm just hoping that for you, and sending you so much love, and would love to hear, how are you really? Maybe you can add to that roller coaster post that I'm going to do on Instagram, Janine.Yoder. What's your roller coaster look like? What did I miss earlier in the episode when I was telling you that full range spectrum? There's got to be some funny ones, some deep ones, some heartbreaking ones, some enlightening, some hard to hear ones that you had. So come on over and share those with me on my Instagram post, Janine.Yoder. Beautiful being with you today, and I'll see you all next week.